It's about creating meaning with your text. So the evolution of font, or well, I guess that's what you'd call it, has been kind of tending towards something that looks more like it was written by hand, or at least that's how it looked at the time when you wrote by hand, toward more and more mechanical looking, more automatic. So at the very beginning, when type was first created, they were trying to make it look just like those handwritten books that people would buy that were all written out by hand, mostly by those dutiful little monks. So it looked kind of like this, where it looks like scripts that you would write as calligraphy, trying to make it look as person manufactured as possible. Then later it moved towards still looking person manufactured with the variation of the thinness and thickness of strokes, and how there's like, it's all different anyway. And then there's serifs instead of this script looking calligraphy type. There's serifs like how the Romans used to use when they were carving, what do you call it, chiseling their words into stone at the ends of their words. So that's where the Roman style came from, still trying to imitate by hand look with the thin and thick variation of strokes and the serifs in the end. But not so much the scripting. Looks a little bit more mechanical than that. There were in-between phases where there were still serifs, but it looked more mechanical. The letters would be a little more geometric, and the serifs would be a little straighter, not quite as many crooked, slanted ones. And then types like these where there are serifs, but it's completely regular. It's almost totally mechanical looking. Now we have these sans serif fonts that are very mechanical looking. And some of them, obviously, we still have serifs, but these more modern mechanical looking fonts have these round letters based on a circle. There isn't variation between thick strokes and thin strokes so much, like any of them at all. And a lot of the letters that are round are based on a circle. Whereas these, a lot of them look kind of different. Well, these are based on a circle. These are based on an oval. So, yeah, that's basically how type is. The general trend has been from more calligraphy looking towards more mechanical looking, futuristic, machine made uniform. So meaning can be created with the type of text that you use, as well as the thickness of the strokes and the value that you're using. So you can use a font like this that's really thick and close together letters, and it'll seem really intense and loud. This one is kind of messy and sloppy, so I think it looks kind of angry. But as you see, you can quiet it down maybe just a little bit with the value, making it contrast less with the background. It looks less loud. But it could never be as quiet as even this is without even changing the contrast at all. And this font, no matter what, could probably never be as loud as this could be. So fonts that have less spacing, that have like thicker strokes and less spaces, tend to look louder, such as these three. And even when you lighten them up, they still look louder than these types of fonts do. Another aspect of the things that your font style can bring to the mood, serifs tend to have a more classic, traditional, relatable appeal because they're still more humanist. They look less mechanical than these clean, efficient looking, modern style fonts that have less variation. They're more uniform, just straight up there. So try to distinguish when you would want to use which, but that's a general rule. And also, as a general rule, you don't want to use bold on a serif font. There are some that are supposed to be bold, but most of the time using bold will kind of ruin the whole feeling that it's supposed to have. So if you gotta use emphasis, maybe try using italic. Keeps with a similar spirit, but still makes it less legible. So bold can go more with these. This font actually, even though it is a sans serif font, doesn't have a bold style. But if it did, that would make it a little louder. And fonts that are already quiet, such as these fonts, can be absolutely the more gentle ones as compared to these ones that are so loud that even when you take it down quite a lot, its loudness is still comparable with something like this, which is completely full contrast, just not such a thick, loud type. So make sure you pay attention to what meaning you're creating with the fonts that you're using on your page. Thanks.